Alright, so I know it's been a while since I've actually done a Star Wars ramble, so I thought to myself, why not? And this here will be the first of 3 series that I will cover pertaining to Star Wars. But to start with, I wanted to start with a very popular comic series that I still feel holds up to this day, even if it is now part of the Legends timeline. Today, folks, I'm going to be talking about the comic book series Star Wars Legacy. Once owned by Dark Horse Comics, now owned by Marvel, aka Disney, under the Legends banner. Even so, it is still a very popular series to this day, and after reading maybe half of it, I can understand why. So, Star Wars Legacy so far has been one of the better comic series that I have read, mostly because of the fact that it does not pertain to the main storyline of the Empire or the Rebellion or even the old Galactic Republic or anything like that. No, this one takes place in the very, very far future. Like years long after Luke Skywalker has long perished and his descendants have continued to carry on through the Jedi Order. And to be honest with you, I find the thought of that, the very setting of this, to be a fascinating one. Because this is set so far in the Star Wars galaxy's future that Luke Skywalker is now a legend. So today, I'm going to at least break it down to the basics for you all. So the very first, to start off with the very basics, let's cover our main hero and villain of this series. So on the left here, for our main hero, we have the Jedi Cade Skywalker. Or I guess I should say fallen Jedi. So first, let's start off with his backstory. So Cade Skywalker is a long-term descendant of Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker, by this point, is dead and gone, with his descendants continuing to serve the Jedi Order as well as the galaxy, with Cade being the latest in the line of Skywalkers. Now, what makes Cade a very interesting character is the fact that, for one, he's not just a powerful Force wielder, but he's also a bounty hunter. Consider that if you will. A Jedi bounty hunter. That already sounds badass as hell. But that's not the only thing here. Not only is Cade like this, those are just two aspects of him. The biggest thing that I like about Cade is that he's a very flawed type of character. See, during this time in Star Wars Legacy, the Jedi Order has once again been wiped out, nearly to the brink of extinction again. And to be honest with you guys, every time I look back at Legends and see just how many times the Jedi Order has come close to extinction, it makes me wonder, when the heck the Jedi are going to get the memo to just book it out of the Star Wars galaxy? Because seriously, every single time they fight and die for the galaxy, it almost always involves them nearly getting wiped out once again. Some popular ones include here on Star Wars Legacy, but not just that. We also have the famous Order 66. We have the time when the Jedi Order was almost wiped out by the Sith triumvirate of Darth Nihilus, Darth Sion, and Darth Traya. Almost completely wiped out, because Darth Nihilus was a literal Force black hole that sucked up Force energy like a vacuum cleaner. So it makes me wonder, honestly, when the Jedi just book it out of the galaxy entirely. Seriously. But anyways, as a survivor of this, Cade has very deep emotional scars, survivor's guilt, and a lot of PTSD. Mostly due to the fact that he had to witness his father dying to protect him from the soldiers that were wiping out all the Jedi. So because of this, he turned his back on his Jedi heritage and decided to work as a bounty hunter. However, after encountering a surviving Jedi and realizing that his time in the galaxy, his way of helping it, isn't done, his story is not done, and that he cannot just turn his back on his Jedi heritage, Cade once again begins to relearn himself in the Jedi ways and learns to embrace his destiny. However, what I like more about Cade, more than just that, is that he's not afraid to tap into the dark side in this one. And that's one of the biggest struggles for Cade throughout the series, is learning how not to fall deep into the dark side. Like, he is on the very tipping point to the full dark side because he has so much raw anger and emotion and grief. And it twists him and warps him to the point that he is able to use Force Lightning in a snap. Throughout all the story, we actually see multiple times when Cade's eyes go full Sith yellow because he has immersed himself in the dark side. And that is one of the biggest plot points of the story, I should say, is Cade's internal struggle with letting go of his past grief and all of his anger and learning to turn his back on the dark side before it completely consumes him. Now, on the opposite side, we have our main baddie here, Darth Crate, who is by far one of the most popular Sith Lords in Legends and just Star Wars in general. And Darth Crate also has a very fascinating backstory, and the fact that he was actually around during the time of the original Jedi Order before Order 66. He was known as a Jedi Master named Ostrander, who, surprisingly enough, also originated from Tatooine, like Anakin Skywalker. However, unlike Anakin, who grew up mostly in the spaceports and all that stuff, Ostrander actually grew up among the Tusken Raiders, learning their customs and their ways of keeping himself fully clothed and masked. And I find that very fascinating, a Tusken Raider-style Jedi Master. Now, because of this, Anakin and Ostrander both have shared history together after meeting each other a few times throughout the Clone Wars. However, after Order 66, Ostrander was another survivor, and he went back to his home planet of Tatooine, where he found out that the Tusken Raiders were on the verge of extinction, due to humans managing to fight back, cutting off their hunting raids and all that stuff. So Ostrander, in his anger, decides to strike out with the Tusken Raiders and take back some of their lands. But in doing so, he starts attracting too much negative attention. Because during this time, Obi-Wan Kenobi has already dropped off Luke Skywalker and is now guarding him on Tatooine. And about this time, Ostrander is almost close to Luke's home and everything else, so Obi-Wan Kenobi steps in and challenges Ostrander to a duel. And during this duel, Obi-Wan actually manages to unmask Ostrander. Now, for those of you who don't know, in Tusken culture, to have your mask removed and your face being shown is one of the greatest shames of their race. So because of this, Ostrander had no choice but to leave his home planet of Tatooine. However, his story really gets darker the more you go through it. It turns out further on, he actually gets kidnapped by the Yuuzhan Vong, an old enemy within Star Wars Legends, whom are absolutely terrifying, and if you would like me to cover them in another video, I would be more than happy to. So what happens is that Ostrander gets kidnapped by the Yuuzhan Vong and experimented on, with one of his eyes actually being removed and being replaced with another artificial eye. And because of this, they also add some of their own organic coral or something like that. I'm not really sure about that. They add some of their organic technology to Darth Crate. However, at this point, Darth Crate, or should I say Ostrander at this time, snaps and then fully immerses himself into the dark side, manages to escape, and then finds himself on the Sith homeworld of Korriban. There, he's actually put into a dreamless sleep, or a stasis of sorts, where there he seeks to learn and master the dark side in order to learn how to take out, or at least amass the power to take out, Darth Vader and the Emperor. However, by the time he re-immerses himself into the large galaxy, he comes to find out that Darth Vader and the Emperor are both long dead. So because of this, Ostrander decides to embrace his new name as Darth Crate, and from there he goes on to found a new Sith philosophy called the One Sith. Now for those of you who don't know this one, the One Sith is a very different philosophy from the Rule of Two Sith. The Rule of Two Sith have the main rule of being that there is only one master and one apprentice at a time. However, with Darth Crate, he chose to go against that and instead decided to do the One Sith rule, where he rules as the Sith Supreme with a whole army of Sith that are loyal to him. Some who are less powerful, some who might be just as powerful, but he reigns as the Sith Supreme, as the most powerful dark side user of this legion of Sith Lords. And Darth Crate so far has been a very fascinating villain, because during the time of Star Wars Legacy, he's actually realized that all those Yuuzhan Vong experiments, and not to mention his own natural age, means that he's close to dying. And during this time of the story, he's trying to find a way to heal his breaking down body and finally gain the secret to immortality so that he might rule forever and gain a much more rejuvenated younger body. So these two are actually very fascinating heroes and villains at this time, and it was really fun so far to watch their stories. So to move on with another one of the basics here, one of the biggest credits I gotta give to Star Wars Legacy is its absolutely phenomenal art style. Star Wars comics have varied in a lot of different art styles and ways that they draw or characterize their stories, either going full black and white with sketching or just brightly colored or whatever. No. I really like Star Wars Legacy because it has all these sharp lines, really well done designs here, like just looking in the left corner here with Cade and his team, they look like absolute badasses about to wreck a bar. And I love it. Meanwhile, they also do really well in expressing different force powers, because let me tell you right now, in Legends, there is no such thing as like power scaling with these guys. They can unleash full storms of lightning or massive force pushes or even call down force storms. There is no limit to the amount of techniques and crazy force abilities that are shown within Legends, and it terrifies me to no end, and is also exhilarating to behold. Like just looking in the second picture here, as Darth Crate is unleashing all this Sith Force lightning, is an absolutely amazing photo. Like seriously, I gotta give credit where credit is due. The guys who worked on this really outdid themselves with the color style, fight choreography, design with their characters, as well as setting and everything else. They did an absolutely phenomenal job that left me hooked from start to finish to where I am now. Because currently at this point in time, I have not completely finished the entire series, because this one is a long one. Star Wars Legacy by itself went out at about 50 issues by itself, with its sequel, Star Wars Legacy War, rounding up to about 6, meaning that Star Wars Legacy, at least just the part of Cade Skywalker, rounded out at about 56 comic book issues. That is a lot. Which is why, just from looking at this, I cannot wait to see more of the series if I can ever be able to get my hands on it, whether in collected edition paperbacks or just in the individual comic book issues. So all in all, my overall score for Star Wars Legacy as of this moment, considering that I have not yet finished the whole series, is currently a 7 out of 10. Mostly that's due to the fact that I have yet to finish it, but just from what I've seen, it's a very difficult series unless you have an overall full knowledge of Legends. Like, you have to be a full Legends nerd to be able to understand anything about what's going on, from most of the references, such as the Yuuzhan Vong, as well as just a lot of things here depend on your knowledge of Legends. So if you can find a way to get like a basic rundown of Legends, then that's totally good. It'll make the series a little bit more easier to understand. But it is still a fun series if you're looking for a good comic to collect. All in all, though, I had to give it credit where credit is due, with an amazing art style, really well done characters, pretty engaging story. But my main reasons for it being at this score is just like I said, I'm not fully finished with it yet, and it requires a lot of knowledge of Legends, because there have been a few moments in there where I've been thinking to myself, what is going on here? Who are these guys? But other than that, I definitely recommend checking out Star Wars Legacy. And all in all, I'm looking forward to trying to do some more Star Wars content and videos at whatever time I can manage. Anyways, thank you all again for listening. Feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Let me know how I did. Anyways, thank you all for listening, and have an awesome day. This is Rambling Collector, signing off.